What's up, everybody? Ron P from WiseGuyBets here with some picks. DraftKings main slate. There's 8 games on the slate tonight, and what I do is I give you value picks. These are players who I think are going to outperform their salary, 5x, 6x, and in best case scenario, 7x their salary. We're going to get right into it and look at the point guard position. At point guard, we're looking at Jalen Noel for Minnesota. Minnesota's been hit real hard by COVID the last few games. Noel's going to get his playing time. Minnesota are on a back-to-back. Noel played 34 minutes yesterday. He's averaging 1.03 DraftKings points per minute. So his projection minutes for tonight is 24. I think he'll get a little bit more than that. Hopefully he'll get around 30. So basically he's giving you over a point per minute. So I think he easily exceeds his $3,800 salary. Let's look at his last three. I think really only his last two are going to be really his last game against Boston. He had 45, in which he had 35 minutes. Game prior to that was like 5 days prior against Utah, 19 minutes, 17 points. Basically, Minnesota's depleted right now. He's going to get his minutes. He's going to get his touches. And if he gets his minutes, he will provide us what we need on DraftKings and possibly 7x his salary. Let's look at the shooting guard position. Shooting guard position, we're going to the Milwaukee at Orlando game. We're going to look at RJ Hampton, another player who's going to benefit from a team being affected by COVID. Most of the lineup for Orlando is out tonight because of COVID or injuries. RJ Hampton is 3,200 on DraftKings. He had 30 fantasy points in his last game. And against Milwaukee, he's performed very well. This is his second year in the league. In his last three against Milwaukee, he's had 36, 42, and 22. Milwaukee's 23rd versus shooting guard position. Hampton's minute projection for tonight is 30. Let's look at his last three. He had 29 a couple days ago against Miami in 32 minutes. And then back on the 15th of December, he had 22 in 27 minutes against Atlanta. Again, his minute projection for tonight is 30. So at $3,200 salary, he will easily, if he gets his minutes, 7x that salary. He's definitely someone I'm looking at getting in a lot of my lineups tonight. Let's look at the small forward position, and we're going to the Houston versus Lakers game. LA is in Houston tonight, and we're looking at David Nwamba. This is a back-to-back for Houston. Nwamba's 3,400 on DraftKings. His projection for tonight is 31 fantasy points. His minute projection is 30. If he gets his minutes, he's going to give us such points. He's averaging 0.98 DraftKings points per minute played this season. So he's almost giving us a point per minute. So let's say if he gives us 30 minutes, we expect him to give us 30 points. So he's 3,400 on DraftKings. Let's look at his last three. Again, he did play last night. This is a back-to-back. That's something you always got to take in consideration. But these are young guys, and Houston's coach seemed to be playing his young guys. Last night, he had 24 fantasy points in 24 minutes. Prior to that, on the 22nd, he had 19 fantasy points in 15 minutes. And again, prior to that, on the 20th, he had 15 fantasy points in 15 minutes. So tonight's his minute projection is 30. So hopefully he gives us around 30 fantasy points. You know, this stuff isn't rocket science. We just go with the numbers and hope the numbers play out correctly most of the time. It's not going to happen all the time, but we hope that the numbers play out correctly most of the time. So David Nwamba is someone I'm looking at getting in my lineup tonight at the small forward position. At power forward, we're going with a veteran, someone who's priced at $6,700, and it's going to be Kevin Love for Cleveland, who is playing very well right now. In his last three games, he's had 41, 41 and 33 fantasy points. He got moved back into the starting lineup a few games ago, so he's starting tonight. He's averaging 1.41 DraftKings points per minute over the last month. That's quite a bit. So hopefully his intake in minutes by being his uptick in minutes by being a starter translates over to his fantasy points. As I mentioned, he's been killing it lately. Let's look at his last three. His last three is 40, 41, and 32. He got 40 fantasy points in 18 minutes. He got 41 fantasy points in 23 minutes. This was against Toronto and Boston. So let's hope this carries over to him being in the starting lineup. Like I said, he did start. He's been starting for a couple games now. Just hope this continues to carry over. New Orleans does play the power forward position pretty well. They rank 12th against the power forward position. So something to look into. But I like Kevin Love tonight because he's been playing great for Cleveland recently. Let's look at the center position, and we're going to look at Omar U7 for Miami. He's 4,800 on DraftKings. His projection for tonight is 35. His minute projection is 28. He's another player who's been killing it when he's on the floor. If he gets his minutes, he's going to produce for us. Let's look at his last three. His last three, he has 36, 24, and 32. And let's look at the minutes in there. In the game where he had 36 fantasy points, he did that in 33 minutes. In the game that he had 24 fantasy points, he did it in 25 minutes. The game that he had 32 fantasy points, he did it in 22 minutes. He's another player. When he's on the floor, he is going to produce fantasy-wise. So, and Washington is 25th versus center position. This dude could possibly be a prime play for you tonight because Washington with Daniel Gafford and the backup do not defend the center position very well. So, hey, U7 is someone I'm looking to get into a lot of my lineups tonight at the center position. Let's do a little recap here. At point guard, we got Jalen Noel for Minnesota. Minnesota's depleted. He's going to get his minutes. And if he's on the floor, he produces fantasy-wise. At shooting guard, we're looking at R.J. Hampton for Orlando, another team who's depleted by COVID. His minute projection for tonight is 21. I'm sorry, his minute projection is 30. His point projection is 21. I think he exceeds that pretty easily. He had 30 in his last 30 fantasy points in his last game. We're looking at small forward. We're looking at David Nwamba for Houston. Houston is on a back-to-back, but he's 3,400 on DraftKings with a projection of 31. He averages about a point per minute, fantasy point per minute played. So if he meets his minute projection of 30, we're looking at roughly 30 fantasy points from Nwamba for Houston. And also, Lakers are 26 versus a small forward position. They do not defend that position very well. At power forward, we're looking at Kevin Love. Kevin Love, who's been playing well lately. Last three games, he's had 41, 41, 33 fantasy points. He's killing it by giving us 1.4 DraftKings points per minute over the last month. If he can do that tonight, we're golden, and he can get us, between 35 and 40 fantasy points. And at center, we're looking at Omar Ute 7 for Miami. Bam is out. And the other backup is out. So he's going to get his minutes. His projection minutes for the night is 28. His projection fantasy points for the night is 35. Again, he kills it if he's on the floor. And Washington is 25th versus center position. So I really like U7 in this position tonight. So those are my picks for tonight. Hey, if my picks help you, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Until the next video, peace.